let's keep going here and do these last two. I don't know how much we can get through, but we'll give it a shot. These ones you're forced to do cosine law, and one of the ways I know is I try to do the sine law. I try to see if I can do it. So I need a full pair. So I need like a full pair of B's. Maybe I should just label this first. So this is B, this is A, this is C. You need at least a full pair. So there's not a full pair of C's. There's not a full pair of B's. There's not a full pair of A's. Here, I mean, I don't even have any angles. It doesn't matter how you do this. There's not a full pair. At least one of the sides or angles are missing. So when that's the case, you're forced to use the cosine law, which is actually quite nice because then if you continue with the cosine law, you won't run into any ambiguity problems. So if, and this is just a good rule of thumb, if you use a cosine law to begin with, if you're forced to use a cosine law to begin with, there is only one solution. So just stick to the cosine law if you can, and there should only be one solution. So let's take a look here. Because I've got, cosine law requires 3 sides, I've got 2 of the sides, I'm missing the side, but I do have the angle still. So I can use the cosine law, and I'm going to find B first. So I'm going to put B. Maybe off to the side, I'll write down what I know. And then I can kind of fill it in after. So I know B is 25 degrees. I know little a, side A, is 8. And side C is 15. And I'm going to find B. So B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times cos of B. And I can just fill these things in. A is 8 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 8 times 15 times cos of 25 degrees. So I can kind of do this, 64, 225 minus, I have no idea what 2 times 8 times 15 is. I don't know why I keep putting an equal sign. So I'm going to calculate that now. So 240 degrees, cos of 25. I'm just going to go here, 25 degrees, and I'm going to use the second column. That's cosine 0.906. So I'm just going to, I mean, it's rounded, but times 0.906. So let's put this into the calculator and just see what we get. So I know I have 64 plus 225 minus 240 times 906. 0.906. 7156, and I know that I'm going to have to square root that. So 7156 and around 8.5. 7156, which gets me approximately 8.5. So now that I know, what do I know? This B is approximately 8.5. 0.5. I could use the sine law. I have now a full pair of B's, so I could now do I have a partial of C, so I could find C, and I got a partial of A's, so I could find A. If you do the sine law, though, you're going to get two different outcomes because of the ambiguity. So if I do this and I find my angle C, well, it could be two different options. And you're going to end up having to reject one, but it's actually not clear as to which one you're going to have to reject. If you do the cosine law, we won't run into that problem. But the question is, how can you use the cosine law? Well, the cosine law works best if you have all of the sides, and now I do. I have all the sides. So if I have all the sides, I could find angle C, or I could find angle A. I'm just going to find C for no other reason than it's literally right there, and I circled it first. So I'm going to find C, and I'm going to use the cosine law. If you wanted to use the sine law, you're going to get two answers. You're also going to have to do the sine law again for A, and you're going to get two answers. And then you're actually going to have to compare and contrast them and see which ones are actually similar in both scenarios, and you'll find that there is one in common. But we won't have to run into that problem here. The cosine law will take care of this. So because I'm finding C, I'm going to start with the lowercase c, a squared plus b squared minus 2bc, 2ab times cos of c. And I got to fill all this stuff in, so I'm going to pause here and fill it in. So there we go. Oh, I got a square, 15 squared. Now, because I'm using a rounded number, like this is going to be a little bit off, and I'm okay with that. So I'm going to have a 225 plus equals a 64 plus 8.5 squared. So again, I'm losing some precision here because I've rounded. 2 times 8 times 8.5, so 136 times cos of c. So I'm going to minus the 64 to the other side, and then later on I'm going to divide by negative 136. So that's gone and that's gone. I just got to figure out what is 225 minus the 64 and minus the 7225 is. So I'm going to get an 88.75 negative 136 times cos of c. A lot of students will like to add to get rid of this, add the 136, but we actually, because it's multiplied, we need to divide. And what's kind of nice is this number will be negative, and cosine can be negative. It'll be on the second page. So it's able to distinguish that. Divided by 136. So negative 0.653-ish. Big-ish. So I'll look up there, cosine of negative. So I'm going to go to the second page. Negative 653. Okay, around 131. So I'm just going to say it's 131, approximately 131. That's what's nice about cosine. There's only one option. And if that's 131, then we can find our missing angle, which I actually don't know what it is here. 131. C is 131, approximately. So then I can find A, 131 and 25. So bring up my calculator. So I have 180 minus 131 minus the other angle, 25, and I get 24 degrees. So that will be, A is going to be 24 degrees. Again, these are all approximate. So we can get a lot more precise if we needed to, but I can't even remember what I wrote. 24. Okay. So this one was done a lot quicker, approximately. I was forced to use the cosine law to find a side, and then I could use the cosine law to get a single answer, the only correct answer, which is 131 for angle C. You could have used the cosine law for finding A if you wanted to instead. And then, because I know that there's only one possibility and the cosine law will do the heavy lifting and get that one answer, then I can be confident that if I add up 100, that if all the angles add to 180, that I've come to the right solution. So this is, by the way, for keeping track, the other one was angle side-side or side-side angle. Those are the only possibilities where you can have a chance of getting multiple solutions. This one, it looks like I've got side, angle, side. So if you have a side, immediately an angle, and immediately another side, then you will end up getting only a single solution. So if you're a person that likes side, angle, side to kind of memorize these, then that if you see that, you're like, okay, I need to use the cosine law, and if I am forced to use the cosine law, I'll just stick with it, and I will find the one and only solution. So the question is the next one a side, angle, side? Or is it going to be one of the other possibilities? Well, I've already said before that we're going to use the cosine law, so it can't be the other possibilities. In fact, it's a side, side, side. So if you have side, 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 you will also have just one possibility. So I'm going to do this one in the next video, but it is just good to remember, if you are forced to use the sine law, like you were in the previous questions, there is a chance that you will always spit out, a sine law will always spit out two angles, but there's a chance that you can't reject either of them and that you have to do the double solutions. If we're lucky, we get to reject one. That, again, this is because we were forced to start with the sine law. But here we were given the option, we were told to use the cosine law, and because of that, it led us down this path of continuing with the cosine law, and we knew there would only be one solution that way. So I will do this next one, and this should be the last one.